If you have ever been to the Cincinnati Zoo or follow them on social media, you're going to recognize the face of the zoo, and that's Thane Maynard.
That's right. Not only is he director of the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens, he's also host of a nationally syndicated radio series where he shares bite-sized portions of information about the natural world.
And Thane is here with us now in the studio as he celebrates 35 years of the 92nd Naturalist radio program. Good morning to you, Thane, and I see you have brought a guest with you.
Absolutely. Speaking of bite-sized, this is Cruncher.
Cruncher.
He's probably my second favorite animal at the zoo, behind, of course, Fiona and her little brother, Fritz. But
oh, yeah.
I grew up in Florida, and I have a great fondness for gators. And I can report to you from experience, they are no longer endangered, man. They are everywhere.
Really? Everywhere.
Wow.
Yes.
I go canoeing once a year down in Florida, and there are gators absolutely everywhere.
And he looks like he's ready to come out.
Are you going to touch him? Do a little...
He's a youngster. He's 2.5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Lives in our reptile house. We have 3 species of crocodilians at the zoo. We have American alligators, Chinese alligators, and American crocodiles. But he's a good guy, and
look at that.
You know, they grow about a foot a year when they're young, and they grow slowly. They're cold-blooded reptiles, but you know, you heard him calling just a minute ago.
I did.
Yeah, that little noise he was making there.
Yeah, that's when they're young. They'll call that way, and that's called their moms.
Oh, really?
Most reptiles, the moms never even see the baby. Like sea turtles, they never see their young. But alligator moms stick around and defend them for a while, partly to defend them from males, because the males are very territorial.
So he was like, hey, Mom, I'm on TV.
Exactly, yeah.
Very cool.
So tell us about the 92nd Naturalist. You're celebrating a big 35 years.
I know.
What kind of things can people hear when they
That's a lot of animal trivia.
Exactly.
Well, it here in town is produced by Cincinnati Public Radio, and it airs 3 times a day on both WVXU at 9 p.m. and WGUC at 7:35 in the morning and 6 in the evening. Yeah. Ever since '87, yeah. And it airs around the country, and I get a lot of input. You know, when I say wolves are good, I hear from ranchers out west, you know, that kind of thing. Some people think I talk too much about poop or about animal sex, but overall, you know, the reviews have been nice. You know, it's fun to do. It's part of what we do at the zoo, try to inspire people with animals, make them curious.
And educate people.
And in 90 seconds, you can plant a seed, and then they might say, huh, I never really knew that.
Yeah.
And you know, in 90 seconds, you could talk about darn near anything. You talk about alligator mussels, the fact that they, of course, have their snout on the top of their head so they can be underwater but still breathe. I mean, you know, there's a lot of animal stories everywhere.
Well, I'm sure with all those stories over 35 years, is there one in particular that really, like, stands out to you, that you remember, or a moment from the show?
Well, you know, it is funny. I'll try to have a generally hopeful spirit to the show. So even though all of the bad headlines are true about the loss of nature, about climate change, of course, we're not going to convince anybody to help if we tell them that the sky's falling. So I try to be more buoyant. And so one time years ago, this is before people really did email even, it was from an old retired biology professor. And she would write me these notes, handwritten notes. She was in her 80s. And she would not put my name on it. And an envelope would come and it would say, "To the happy optimist, care of the Cincinnati Zoo." And the first one I opened up, written there, said, "You are a public nuisance." And her point was, the world's on fire. We need people to get involved in conservation and clean up our act. And she'd say, and you're trying to convince people it's fun. They found a new frog in the Amazon. And so we would go back and forth, and she'd send Christmas cards, and it would say things like, "I'm still waiting to hear you get angry on the radio." So I called her one time, and I said, "Well, Marjorie, I realize you need to have your own radio show, because it's just the way we do it here. That I do it in the way that we do it at the zoo, trying to invite people to get involved." But, you know, so yeah, there's the different input you get. I hear a lot from experts, you know, college professors, because in 90 seconds I might not cover the whole story.
Sure.
But usually if I write them back, we go back and forth, and it's good, and I'll do another story. There's always more stories to do. We do 260 a year.
Wow.
Every weekday, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
So what's new at the zoo? What's new?
Well, baby Fritz, come on.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's how significant Fritz is. You might remember Labor Day weekend just ended. It did one thing, and that one thing was rain. Oh, no, we were slammed.
Really? I wondered about that.
We had over 7,000 people a day on rainy days, and that's driven by Fritz,
That's just amazing to see. I mean, because obviously there was so much love with Fiona being a preemie, and now with little brother Fritz and things. I have to ask, though, in the nearly, 45 years you've been with the zoo? What would you say, I mean, if you had a spirit animal, what would it be?
Yeah. Well, I would say this. Certainly, the zoo's been blessed with Fiona, who'll be 6 years old January, because she literally, it was like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
The affection for her, and out of that grew. I mean, we have 6.5 million followers on social media, like every single day. It's just crazy.
And you think a lot of that is attributed to?
Oh, that's what launched it. It just hit at that crazy moment where, you know, that really was all building steam of, you know, whether that's Instagram, various things.
Yeah.
Now with TikTok. And, you know, just her unique story of being a preemie. Nobody had ever seen a preemie hippo before.
I got to get over there.
The hilarious thing is,
I got to get over
if you think of all the hippos you've ever seen or known, none of them are cute, but she actually is cute. She has this little smile. It's the darndest thing. And so that affection has lasted, and that's certainly a spirit animal for the zoo. For me, honestly, it might be baby alligators. I spent my youth, back when they were quite endangered, out in the woods and on the streams and rivers in Florida back before air conditioning. And my friends and I would go at night with big flashlights and try to catch baby gators. And
oh, wow.
Fortunately for us, we didn't know it at the time. They were so rare, there was little chance of us getting hurt. Today, nobody would let 9-year-old kids spend the night out on a lake trying to catch baby alligators.
Yeah, a little risky.
They would catch you.
Well, I know, like you were saying, you can only cover so much in 90 seconds. We could only cover so much here, but Thane Maynard, thank you so much.
We'll have to have him back.
Oh, we definitely have to, for
it's
sure.
like the old times. Cruncher and me on the road.
I love it.